I think people, when it came to Eminem, it was the first time seeing a kid take like the culture and the swag and put it together with who he personified as. And I think in the beginning, it was definitely something that people weren't fond of.
He gets like on Twitter and he talks about Haley like she's hot, but mind you, at the time Haley's like 16, 17.
SouLivate.
Absolutely garbage. Trash. MGK did not want smoke, bro.
Okay.
He knew he really fucked up when that happened.
Listen, but he stepped up. Nobody else wanted to step up because if you remember, M didn't just talk about him. He talked about a bunch of people, man.
Well, yeah. That's initially with the first go around of what he was talking about. That was true. I definitely give MGK the correlation.
He stepped it up
to do it. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it takes balls to step up to somebody like that.
Coming at a legend.
But that's the other thing too. It's like, you kind of need to learn when to slow your roll and look at yourself before you do that. It's kind of like, oh, well, I can be that guy that talks my shit and, goes up to one of the top, OGs of this shit and tries to, interfere. But at the end of the day, what are you to that? What's so different about you going up against somebody that's already so different and so established in itself, right? And that's why a lot of people when they went through that whole beef and like dispute of both of them, like Eminem won that shit, completely bodied MGK. You know what I'm saying? And all respect to MGK, I don't know him, but in my opinion, Eminem took his shots back. He stood on business and he said what he had to say. And the internet just completely used the internet partially as a way against him. And they did their thing with it. And bye-bye. Now MGK's in a whole other genre.
Were you entertained?
Oh my God. That was a cake, dude. I was like a kid eating cake.
Exactly.
That was how like the whole Drake, like, how when like Drake and Kendrick, the whole beef came out, and everybody was like, when's the next diss? That was the same deal with me with like MGK and Eminem, man. I was like, what is happening right now? What's going on Twitter? Like, it was crazy.
But when I heard MGK, Machine Gun Kelly say, your beard's weird, I'm like, oh man. So then the kill shot drops, and M is like, how you name yourself after a handgun with a man bun? I was like, oh, that's over, bro.
He said something about like, he's like, never say Haley's name in vain, alien brain. I was like, oh, bro.
Because you know the story behind that, right?
Yeah, initially didn't like he like come at his daughter or something like that over Twitter or something like that.
So MGK, being the dumbass that he was already in his 20s. He just went, global, like he just popped off. He gets like on Twitter and he talks about Haley like she's hot. But mind you, at the time, Haley's like 16, 17. And if we all been following M's career, like that's his jewel, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what happens next is MGK was supposed to come to Sway's universe because it's owned by Shady Records, Sway's universe, man, the radio station. So MGK was supposed to come on the station, but allegedly M called Sway like, nah, bro, he's not coming on, bro. So ever since then, they had their little story. Before we go on, because man, I love picking your brain. Do you think that being white helped Eminem?
Helped?
or did it hinder him? Like did it matter that he's white? Did he become so popular? This conversation, like, it's an ongoing conversation. Everyone has talked about it, man. Like,
Yeah.
and I want to know your opinion because you're such a musical brain, man. Like,
Thank you.
did it help him or did it impair him? Like,
This is SouLivate.
Ooh, I think
SouLivate.
with his career, I think when people first heard about it and people got their first taste of it, nobody saw anything of it. They thought it was a fucking joke. They honestly, because again, like, culturally, I mean, other than the Beastie Boys, like, a lot of hip hop and, urban records, came from, Black community. I mean, there's just a big, but, like, don't get me wrong. There are, what I'm saying, other pieces of it where, people like that stepped in and they were of, white or whatever. I think people, when it came to Eminem, it was the first time seeing a kid take, like, the culture and the swag and put it together with who he personified as. And I think in the beginning, it was definitely something that people weren't fond of, so it didn't help him in the beginning. And then I think once he proved himself to be different and what he was trying to do and, like, what his whole idea of Eminem, the brand, Slim Shady, the brand was, that's when people were like, oh, okay, the talent, he's fucking got it. He don't sound like nobody. He's not rhyming and rapping like nobody like that, even for a battle rapper. You know what I'm saying? It's like this, the image, it makes sense, but the stigma around it slowly fades away. So I think it was a bittersweet. I think personally it was 50-50 down the middle. It probably took him out of some shit. It probably got him into some shit.
yeah.
Good.
See, in the beginning, it was it wasn't in his advantage because I remember, like, I became started writing in '97. I remember exactly how it was. I remember, and I'm Slavic, man, but in America, like, yo, that's a white boy, right? So I know how it is. Like, so for him, I know it was hard. A lot of people didn't want to accept him, blah 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 blah, because they see the image, man, until they hear him rap, right?
Yeah.
But we must be honest that statistically, this country is predominantly white. It's changing, but it's predominantly white. So
absolutely,
if you think about statistics, this is a normal thing, man, because we live on the East Coast, so we're like a melting pot. We don't really, view like things like that, black, white, this and that.
Yeah.
But if you go towards like Central America and like Midwest, like all these, rural areas, man, where there's just a bunch of white folks, man, trust me, they're looking at something like this. You know what I'm saying? So as far as statistically wise, I think it obviously helped him, man, because those people in those areas were like, oh, a white kid, okay, I'll go buy the album. You know what I'm saying? Whereas but what's crazy though? There was only a few, like 3 instances in hip hop that I know that that I experienced in musical history that transcended color and berry and nationalities and all of this stuff. The first time, believe it or not, was DMX. It's Dark and Hell It's Hot. Yo, Spence,
that's a good one, man.
Bro, Spence, I swear to you, this album dropped in '98.
Yeah.
Every rock and roll kid that I knew had the album, bro.
Seriously.
Everyone had the album for some reason, because he was, so like, he was so screamy and rough and like, so that was the first time, man, where I was like, oh my God, like all of a sudden it's not black or white. Everyone is getting this album, man.
Right. It don't matter who it is. It's just,
it don't matter. Second time was when the Slim Shady LP dropped. And the third time was when Get Rich or Die Trying dropped.
Yeah. I love that album. I have that album. It's so good.
But I think that for 50 Cent, it was a lot easier because he already had the backings of Eminem.
Yeah.
But for DMX and Eminem, this was something new, man. But I remember like Ukrainian kids that didn't even listen to hip hop was rocking DMX and they was rocking Eminem, man. So that was a moment, bro. Like I just remember that, man. So let's get back to the album, man. So what other highlights?
This is SouLivate.